Rain that did not go away. How people stayed positive during the wettest Kentucky Derby of all time, and how it didn't slow down the big winner, Justify.
Some big changes this year at Churchill Downs for the Kentucky Derby, from parking to new entrances. We'll take a look at how it all went.
A lot of money flows through Churchill Downs on Derby Day. You'll be surprised to know just how much.
Entering in style, the celebrities who walked the red carpet at Churchill ahead of the Run for the Roses.
After a dismal day at the track and a record-setting rainfall, we're looking at another storm chance in tomorrow's forecast. We'll time it out and show you what to prepare for.
Good evening, everybody. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Joel Skipper.
And I'm Fallon Glick. On a rain-soaked track with more than 150,000 people watching, Justify wins the 144th Kentucky Derby.
And as sports director Tom Lane, he's here to tell us today marks trainer Bob Baffert's 5th Kentucky Derby win.
Pretty amazing, and not only that, this is the 6th year that the current point system has been in place. It's the 6th year that the favorite has now won under that system. Wasn't that long ago we went a couple of decades without a favorite winning. Justify unraced as a 2-year-old, but considered the one to beat. He was even one of the horses in the field to have a win on an off track. Took control around the far turn under jockey Mike Smith, then came home for a 2-length triumph over the reigning 2-year-old champ Good Magic, with Audible a close third. Baffert at it again, a talented trainer with a very talented horse who's now 4 for 4, the 9th unbeaten Derby winner. Mike Lissette and Eric Crawford have the reaction from Churchill Downs.
A very impressive win for Justify, but I'll tell you what, Eric Crawford, he had to do it in less than ideal conditions.
Absolutely. You think you're living proof, your shoes are living proof. This was not at all what any of us really expected coming into the day. Rain just settled over Churchill Downs and didn't leave. There were a number of horses in this field that had experience with off tracks, but it didn't matter. Justify, they blazed through some of the fastest early fractions in Derby history, and then he had enough left at the end to get it done.
Here's the winning connection afterwards.
And to come here and, you know, and do it on a day like when the weather, I couldn't believe the weather. I was not feeling great about it. Matter of fact, I was leaking really bad. I told Elliot, I'm not liking this at all. You know, I was preparing my wife for a loss. I mean, we were ready, you know, to head out the gate the minute they crossed the wire. But, you know, this horse, you know, Mike came in the paddock. The horse was acting cool. Mike was really cool, which is a very good sign.
Going in, I mean, my main concern really was just getting him out of the gate. Because believe it or not, I mean, he's just so talented. I mean, this horse is so, I just keep using this word, I don't know why, but he's so above average. It's unbelievable, and he's got a mind that goes with it.
Not a guarantee from the connection that it's on to Pimlico for the Preakness, but pretty much a done deal that he'll go, correct?
Yeah, this is 5 Derby winners for Bob Baffert. The previous 4 not only went to the Preakness, they all won the Preakness. So I think we can expect to see him in Baltimore.
More coming up on Justify's win later in sports. For now, he's Eric Crawford. I'm Mike Lissette, WDRB Sports.
Plenty of additional reaction, the payoffs, and the full order of finish, all on the way in sports.
All right, Tom, thanks. Today's Derby was the wettest on record at Churchill Downs, and along with the rain, horse racing fans also had to deal with big changes when it comes to parking and security.
WDRB's Kyle Mitchell is at Churchill Downs tonight. And Kyle, how did they deal with the heavy rain on top of the new changes?
Fallon and Joel, people had to ditch their umbrellas at the gates, including the new paddock gate, just one of many changes on this rainy Derby day. As the rain fell,
you will not be able to take an umbrella into the complex.
The crowds kept flooding in.
We actually did some research. We knew the umbrellas were going to be thrown out. Obviously, most people didn't because there's a ton out there.
The wettest Derby on record had visitors finding ways to stay dry and keep their feet out of the mud.
There's no staying dry at this point.
Haley Shelby made the trip from Midland, Texas.
We have ponchos, we have our table tarp, purses, everything, race books underneath us.
Tarps in the infield were also a hot commodity, with fans tying them right to the fence. While the rain isn't new at the track, there were some big changes this year for visitors.
It was really easy. The shuttle was great. Everything was good. It's easy breezy.
The track expanded busing this year, shuttling in more visitors from the fairgrounds and putting up new fencing along Central Avenue, limiting the crossings as people walked from the football stadium.
Getting people to walk in the rain doesn't work so well, obviously. The weather's now cooperating.
A new temporary pedestrian bridge allowed crowds to cross while the buses kept rolling.
I thought it went really smoothly, but there's some guy, he said 27 years he's been coming, and he wasn't happy with the setup.
A new paddock gate with self-scan ticket machines greeted crowds as they walked in. Spectators were limited to 3 main gates this year.
The track's obviously investing in improving the overall customer experience.
Despite the traffic and the rainy mess,
This is how we make some money. Are you kidding? I'd be here in the snow.
most people took the slippery conditions in stride.
Definitely expecting a longer wait. I was expecting traffic was going to be horrendous, but I guess, with the weather, it's actually better than what I expected.
Part of the new walking bridge had to be closed after a woman slipped and cut her foot. The bridge has fully reopened. Reporting live from Churchill Downs, Kyle Mitchell, WDRB News.
And now that the Derby is over, the massive cleanup at Churchill Downs begins. Trash is scattered throughout the infield, from empty bottles to food containers. There is a big mess to clean up. Crews of volunteers will be back at Churchill in the early morning hours to pick up all that trash.
And aside from it being the wettest Derby on record, today's event was also the 8th largest crowd of all time. 157,813 people attended today's Run for the Roses.
And plenty of stars were among those who watched the most exciting 2 minutes in sports.
Well, everybody's been great and nice and wonderful. So there's good food, there's good fashion, the whole event of the horses, which I happen to love.
The barn stable people always ask me to come back because my dad had diabetes, and it's very prevalent in the black community. So it's something that I enjoy. And I also enjoy because I'm able to do something for, a wonderful cause, but also I get to have fun.
There's so many things about the Derby that we just enjoy. We've been coming 23 years now, my wife and I, and then the very first time that we came up here, we just felt accepted by the people of Louisville. The people here at Churchill Downs have always treated us extremely well. And we've had a lot of friendships that we've developed over the years that we only get to see those friends one time a year, and that's right here at the Derby.
And coming up at 10:30, WDRB's Gilbert Corsi takes us to today's red carpet, talking to Layla Ali about her first Derby experience and what she'll do when she's in town to honor her father's legacy.
Can't believe it's her first Derby. Crazy stuff. Well, the rain couldn't keep people from having a great time at the track today.
WDRB's Katrina Helmer ran into some people in an interesting way who braved all the bad weather, all to see the Run for the Roses. Katrina.
I think we can all be honest about it at this point. The rain was no fun today, but we decided to brighten the mood and play a game with all of our new friends at the track. Take a look. When Mother Nature decides to rain on your Derby parade, it's time to take matters into your own hands. Let's play Derby Bingo.
The crowd is just so excited, the energy that you have in the crowd, the hats, the outfits. Yeah, it's also such a great experience.
People watching. There's great people here.
It's a really memorable event.
What's it like, guys?
It's so exciting.
It's so exciting.
We did our first bet.
We did.
We all lost.
And everyone is so nice.
Deirdre won. She won.
You have your Derby pros.
I've been here for 10 years running now. I'm going to win big. What else am I doing?
Your Derby out-of-towners.
Kenya. Nairobi, Kenya. Fantastic.
Even with the rain?
Even with the rain. The hats, the colors, the ladies, the men, everything. Brilliant.
And your Derby first-timers who are willing to wear and do just about anything to have a good time.
It is the best time we've ever had on a trip.
And then you have this couple. They're on their first date.
I offered to take her to the Derby, and she said yes.
Derby and a TV interview on a first date. So far, so good.
She's already won on her first bet. $68 on her first bet. Yeah, right? So it's a good day. It's a great day.
Bingo. Derby bingo.
This is fantastic. This is such an experience. It's like a once-in-a-lifetime experience for us. Not many people get to see the race in the rain. This, to me, is fantastic and special. Yes. Rain or not, it's great.
It is absolutely beautiful here. The people have been wonderful. The hats have been spectacular. And the entire experience has been more than I expected. Even with the rain, and it makes us want to come back now when it's not raining too.
Everywhere you look, literally everywhere, you see someone or something crazy and new and fun, and that's the beauty of the Kentucky Derby. Something I found surprising today, every person I met who is either from out of town or this was their first time, they said they really did not mind the rain. They said it made this Derby all the more memorable for them. Reporting live at Churchill Downs, I'm Katrina Helmer, WDRB News.
Well, you may have noticed noticed in all of those stories about the Derby, it rained today, and it rained significantly. We had record rainfall today across the area. 3.15 inches of rain fell at the Louisville airport. This is where we keep records. So not only does that break the Cinco de Mayo record, which is about an inch short, 2.14 is the old record, it also breaks the Derby record. This is the wettest Derby we have ever seen. The old record was 2.31 inches. That was 100 years old, that record was. Incredible rainfall across the area, but you notice a really sharp cutoff. This is the fascinating part of today's weather. We saw a lot of rain. Saw a lot of rain everywhere. E-Town just shy of 1 inch, Campbellsville about an inch and a half, Hardinsburg half an inch. These rain totals, they vary pretty widely, and here's why. I put this radar in loop so you can see what's going on. If you notice this kind of swirling pattern, there's a low pressure that was near our area today. It came just a little bit farther north than it should have, and that's what caused a few problems. So I want to point out to you that we are seeing dry conditions right now in Louisville. The heavier rain still off to our east and south. So coming up in your full forecast, we're going to break down how much longer this rain sticks around, how much more rain you need to prepare for this evening, and a storm threat in tomorrow's forecast.
All right, Hannah, we'll see you in a bit. Federal assistance is approved for several southern Indiana counties that experienced severe flooding in February. President Trump approved Indiana's disaster declaration after Governor Holcomb submitted the request. The governor said he saw firsthand the devastation from the unrelenting storms. The president's action makes federal funding available to affected residents in Clark, Floyd, Harrison, and Jefferson counties, among others.
An Indiana police officer is dead after a shootout with a homicide suspect. Police in Terre Haute say 4 officers were investigating a homicide at an apartment complex last night when a shooter opened fire. Police say the shooter hit a 16-year veteran officer. The suspect then barricaded himself inside one of the apartments. Officer Rob Pitts was rushed to the hospital where he died. The suspect was also killed in the shootout.
People are engaging with law enforcement, and we are losing our lives. But he's a fine officer who was going towards danger to assist his fellow officers in apprehending a homicide suspect today.
Indiana Governor Eric Holcomb released a statement about the officer's death, saying, quote, "These tragic events in Terre Haute involving patrolman Rob Pitts are stunning and heartbreaking." He went on to say, quote, "I ask Hoosiers around the state to join me in honoring Patrolman Pitts' service and dedication."
There were more people killed in active shooter incidents last year than any year before, that according to the FBI. Their latest report examines shootings that happened in 2016 and 2017. It found in 2017, 138 people were killed in 30 separate active shooting incidents in the United States. The FBI says there were 20 active shootings in 2016 that killed 83 people. The data also showed all 50 active shooters in both 2016 and 17 were men, and all of them worked alone. A real-life nightmare on Hawaii's biggest island, a volcano eruption followed by a massive earthquake. Why those living nearby are still not out of the woods.
Plus millions of dollars wagered at the Kentucky Derby. But do you know how much?
$30 million, $50 million, $100 million. Holy whoa, I'm so mad right now.
And she is still too low. The out-of-this-world amount of money that flows through Churchill Downs on Derby Day.